Good evening, fellow morons. It has been some time since we've actually spent some time to talk about films. How are we all feeling? Have you all missed me?
Not particularly, no.
You weren't even on. Were you on last time? We did this.
Potentially sitting in the background.
Maybe that.
But no, we don't missed you at all, to be honest.
Nice. Well, I'll just shut up shop just now and leave you guys to it then, really, yeah. But no, it has been 2 weeks since we last sat down and recorded together, talking about some films. We have got 3 movies to go through tonight, with having one more on less. So Hunter has decided to do a Sean and take some annual leave, but we do have his thoughts and feelings on the movies that we will bring up throughout the recording as well. Thanks to those that are taking the time to download the podcast and listen. We are approaching 800 downloads across the platform, so we do appreciate anyone that has listened to us. Please, if you can share the podcast, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Who can remember the 3 films that we've watched over the last 2 weeks? We're not the best at remembering these, so who can remember?
I'm glad you asked for this week's, because I definitely don't remember the last ones.
I can remember them just because I still had them on my laptop the last time, so it's fine. So the last ones we watched was Fargo and I, Tonya, which were both my choices.
Fucking hell.
And then we pretty much, I think I shot all over I, Tonya as well. And then Fargo was quite highly rated, wasn't it? But this one's our OldBoy and Spiderverse and the Batman that we went to see this cinema.
Quite a strange trio of movies, so different. So I'm really eager to hear the thoughts on these as well. Do you have any preference about which movie we'd like to talk about first, gents?
Nah, I think you decide.
I'll decide. So I'll start us off on a really positive note, and we should start off with OldBoy. OldBoy launched in 2003. After being kidnapped and imprisoned for 15 years, Odisu is released only to find that he must find his captor in 5 days. Who would like to take us away first?
I'll go, and do you know why I'm quite excited about this? We've all been quite on the same page recently. For a long time, for quite a lot of episodes now, we've all sort of pretty much agreed. And I think in all 3 movies tonight, contrasting views. But I think this movie's fucking awesome. I'm a big fan of this film. It's super weird. It's fucking mental. There's so much shit going on. There's so many daft, stupid twists. Whoever came up with the idea for this movie's fucking mental. But I just think it was awesome to watch. How see the concept behind it, a guy just randomly being kidnapped, being kept prisoner for 15 years as a revenge, to set him up to the point that he accidentally shags his own daughter. Just
You were right in saying the person who wrote this is a bit mental when he comes up with that plot writing. I'll give you that.
Aye, it's fucking class. There's no other movie like this. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking brilliant. I like it. I like all the fight scenes. I like how mental the guy is. I think his performance is brilliant. The main guy, who played it, was it Odisu? His name is.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing. I think he looks cool as fuck. Seeing the transitions between all the different weights and looking all different. I don't know how they filmed that, but he looks like almost different people at different stages of the film when they're going back between the start of his imprisonment and then when he's a mental psychopath murderer. It gets so stupid and silly and over the top for the last half hour. And normally I'm quite critical of that, but I was excited about it. It almost became a bit of a high school drama, when it flashes back to the high school and he sort of sneaks up and sees the fact that the main bad guy is shagging his sister. So if anyone listening, this movie's about a guy.
Go on, explain this.
It's nothing like the actual synopsis that Kyle read out, right? What this movie's actually about is a guy getting caught shagging his sister at high school. He then She then kills herself / he murders her. It's kind of ambiguous. I'll come back to you all on what you think on that. After that, he spends, it must be, 20, 30 years? 40, 30 years? So he's got to wait for that guy to have a kid. He waits for that guy who started the rumours and told everybody. He waits for him to get married, have a kid. His kid gets to 4 years old. So he kidnaps him, puts him in a prison for 15 years, and then lets him out and sticks him into shagging his dead daughter. That's what this movie is. Mental. And I love it. I love everything about it. I even like when he cuts his tongue out and goes insane at the end. It's like just somebody who'd absolutely lost the plot. And then even though he did all the begging and he tries to push the button and it was all sick and he finally he just couldn't give it up. To me, he couldn't give up that vengeance. You thought he'd finally sort of learned his lesson and he was going to sort it out, and then he tries to kill him and it just plays him shagging his own daughter. Oh, the bit. I can't believe I mentioned the guy shagging his daughter so much.
I thought maybe we were going to gloss over that a wee bit, but you've said it about 10 times so far.
Well, do you know what? It's a lasting memory from this movie. And when I was watching this, I'd never seen it before. I'd seen the Josh Brolin version, and I can't really remember it. And I didn't. I know I said to you guys I'd go back and watch it, but I didn't.
The version that was out like 10 years late. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I watched the version.
By mistake.
But you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about now.
Did you watch one that had subtitles or no?
No, it was in English.
Josh Brolin in it.
I'm only winding his up. His hands and knees and everything.
Oh, you did. Because you've not got your. Because we can't see you as well, Sean. It doesn't really.
Sean's decided to step in and take up Hunter's mantle of being the known liar there.
Just a wee joke.
Just a wee joke. Well done, Sean. You played it very well. Very well.
I wish I did watch the Josh Brolin one, though. I put it that way.
Well, we'll come to you in a little second. So, whilst I was watching this one, and it wasn't till honestly about 3/4 of the way through it that it clocked to me that it was the daughter. But I think I'd been told this previously, like this is the twist of this movie. I think I'd been aware of it because throughout the whole film, I wasn't sure of where it was going or why it happened or why he was kidnapped. Because you're right, it's absolutely mind-boggling, the concept of this movie. And someone sat down and wrote this script, thought to themselves, let's make a movie about a guy that pumps his own sister and takes his vengeance out on the guy that, rightly so, told people what actually happened, but makes him shag his own daughter. It's absolutely mental. I'm with you on the acting and stuff on it, Daniel. I thought the main character guy was brilliant. He was really good the whole way through. You don't picture or see him as this kind of... For those that haven't watched OldBoy and you see the picture and you've maybe seen clips of him like kicking the shit out of like 30 guys in a corridor and you think this is some sort of hero movie where he's going to get his own back on his captor, and then you get the twist on what's happened. So it's quite strange to watch because you find yourself wanting this guy to win because he's a complete loser. But you're like, I want this guy to win. I want him to be successful, and then it happens where he gets intimate. We'll say I'll be a bit more polite than Daniel.
We've said shagged his daughter about 10 times.
Nobody else has.
Well, I'll let someone else add in more about people shagging their own daughter.
When you go, Sean. I bet you loved it.
So, this was what, non-Marvel comic book week or something like that?
Yes.
I was expecting like a fucking superhero film or something like that. What the fuck was this? So, when I read the wee synopsis, I thought, oh, that sounds alright. I thought, oh, this boy must have like some kind of superpowers that they injected him in this place he was held captive and all that was completely wrong. Unless his superpowers is fucking blindness. That's why he was shagging his own daughter. When I was watching this, I've wrote down 3 things that absolutely repulsed me. When he's sitting in the restaurant and he just eats like that octopus or the fucking squid, whatever the fuck that thing was. That was absolutely disgusting.
I loved that bit. I thought that bit was fucking awesome.
Absolutely vile. And then when the teeth getting ripped out, I think you touched on that, Daniel. That was absolutely minging and all. And the sex scenes, like when I was watching this, Laurie walked in at one point and she thought it was like a dirty film. It was so explicit. Like when one far too long, it felt like it was really in depth. It's probably the most explicit sex scene I've ever seen in a film. And obviously what happened at the end, when he found out it was his daughter, just makes it absolutely repulsive. I don't know how. So this was a comic.
It was a manga, like a Japanese comic.
And is it? Do they have age restrictions or can kids?
Yeah. I believe this would have been an 18 and over comic book.
I fucking hope so. This is one of the strangest films I've ever seen in my life. I think the fact that it was a foreign film, obviously it wouldn't if you're from, do you know what I mean, like different parts of the world, but for us, it had the overall weirdness to it, like just, it was really weird. I didn't enjoy it, by the way. I absolutely hated it. I didn't anybody at all.
I was kind of hopeful for a wee second there that I was thinking maybe he quite liked this, but no.
I absolutely hated it, and like half the time I had no idea what was actually going on. But I just found it just really weird. Absolutely repulsive. It's probably the most repulsive film I've ever watched in my life. Like really, really repulsive. I just didn't like it. I'm pretty sure Craig's going to echo my thoughts here.
Can I get with the other thing? I thought somebody would have mentioned it already, so I just want to mention it now because I feel like Craig will have questions on it. What do you think of the ending? Like right at the very end? Did you understand it? Is what I'm asking. Like Craig, did you know what happened at the end?
Aye, so like when they put it in the store and that, you mean?
Aye.
Yeah, well I thought I picked up in terms of obviously he was obviously woken up and unsure whether it was a dream.
No, so
he's been across and then obviously confirms that when she speaks to him and knows his name and whatever, and then the embrace, then obviously that the hypnosis has worked and obviously made him forget about everything. And her obviously she has no idea because it was never revealed that she was getting shagged off her dad.
Aye. The idea that what he wanted to do, instead of like trying to build a relationship with his daughter or trying to find or maybe we just separate away from the situation and leave her to live her life, he wants to be hypnotised so that he can continue to shag.
Yeah.
But then obviously in the movie, the guy wants to keep.
But his mind has been taken away, so he doesn't know that's his daughter though.
Exactly, but he's going to find. Surely he could find out again. What if he finds out again?
Jesus Christ, man.
With that same wife and then ask her to do it again, cool, that's obviously what happens.
Just keep getting hypnotised again. Fucking mental movie. Sorry, Craig, carry on.
Actually, so, like, there needs to be some background checks. How can you come up with this? I think that this is entertainment and enjoyable. It's fucking bizarre. I don't get it. Genuinely don't get it. People like whoever the fuck has written this needs to have a serious look at themselves and needs to have the hard drive checked. It's fucking weird.
Well, just before Craig comes in and reveals his thoughts to it, I'm just waiting for it to load up, but I do believe this is really highly regarded. I mean, this is the 72nd highest rated movie on IMDb.
I'm flabbergasted.
Craig, give us your thoughts.
I think didn't dislike it as much as Sean, but I definitely didn't enjoy it. I thought it was just really strange and bizarre, as Sean's touched on. Is like I don't understand how somebody could think this is going to be something. Like I didn't enjoy this watching it. Like I thought, like Daniel said, it's the main character. Thought he was impressive throughout it. Like his facial expressions and then his emotions and that. I thought he showed them quite well throughout. it was good in terms of being in the dark throughout the film. So like, because sometimes you see a lot of films and obviously you know what the twist is going to be or anything like that, and then whereas this one, I think, I didn't have a clue what was going on, but it wasn't in terms of that I was switching off from it. I was concentrating on it, but when it started just going really dark and the teeth part, that was disgusting. The bit about the tongue, that was like I could like actually stop watching. Like, well, I just looked away, like watch, because I was like, I can't watch this shit at that point. It was just too much for me. And the amount of violence as well, that it was kind of just, it was just over the top. And Daniel sort of pointed out his comments where, although obviously you said you liked it, it did go over the top for the last half hour as well. I think obviously, although we've watched foreign films before that have been really good, is like you need something that's going to be class to keep you really invested in the film. Whereas like say this was like with a non-subtitle film, I think I might enjoy it slightly better because I wouldn't have felt the need to concentrate completely. Whereas I wasn't really taking, because I was trying to obviously read what was being said, then you weren't really taking in like the settings or the acting as much as what you would do normally. But it was just, even though it's been like a week since I've watched it, I'm still sort of I just find it bizarre how somebody could write this and think, that's like, well, what we'll do is we'll do a film where guy catches somebody for school shagging his own sister, and then like Sean said, like that scene where he was with her in whether it was a classroom or in a park, whatever it was just far too long and it was far too seedy and everything. It was just too much.
Too seedy.
And his revenge is obviously that hypnotises both of them, and then the father shags his own daughter. It was just too much. But the only upside I can tell you is it's not as bad as some of the films we've watched, but it's I think I was saying at the weekend that I was tempted to try and go back and watch this again to try and see if I missed stuff, and I just couldn't even bring myself to do it. I was just like, nah, there's no chance I'm watching this ever again.
I feel like we're going to have some extremely contrasting scores when it comes to this in a little second, but I just want to touch back a little bit on what Odisang, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. So when he catches the guy pumping his sister, and he's at high school, rumours spread because he's seen something, and everyone's obviously teasing, slagging off, etc. And then you're led to believe that his sister commits suicide. Now, when I watched that, I'm like, his sister definitely didn't commit suicide. But she gave herself like a phantom pregnancy.
It was a bit ambiguous as to whether it was a phantom pregnancy or a real one, because I think is it Odesu or whatever his name is, what he thinks he's figured out by the end is that he murdered her instead because he took the picture.
Yeah.
Meant to be on their own, but he had taken pictures of her, and then it sort of gives you the flashback where he didn't quite kill her, he was holding her, but then he let her go. So so I think she did want to kill herself. And then
I didn't actually realise, like, obviously there was rumours that she was pregnant, but
they alluded to the fact that she believed that she was pregnant.
But it was, and then obviously that the main character, he sort of suggested that he killed her because she was pregnant, but obviously there was no sort of confirmation of that. I just wanted to, in case I missed something, it was sort of going in terms of knowing for sure, I guess.
It definitely leaves it ambiguous. It doesn't really give you a defined answer as to whether she was or wasn't pregnant.
So I felt like you were getting his perception, the bad guy's perception of what had happened, and then it makes it out that she's like trying to kill herself. He's trying to stop her, but he does just let go of her. To me, it's that side where you've got his perception of it, but he's definitely murdered her. And the guilt that he's carried with that element of it, he's going to get his own back on the guy that he feels ruined his life. But bear in mind, you did pump your own sister first, before any of this, and you would have continued to if nobody else knew about it.
obviously see the bit of the bridge or whatever it was, is that this is obviously through his eyes though. Like it could be his own imagination that's obviously saying this. It was as if she was sort of saying to him like, no, I want to die.
Aye, she did, but he still let her go. She definitely was trying to kill herself, but he stopped it, and he sort of eventually chose not to.
So when I was watching it, I was like, at the end, I'm like, oh, is Odysseus the bad guy here? Because he did pump his sister, then he wants to forget about it so that he can continue his daughter, so he can then continue. But then the other bad guy actually did pump his sister and set this all up for years to torture people to get to this point. And it wasn't just him that was getting tortured in this one room. There was multiple rooms and multiple people that were obviously some form of experiment to get to this point.
No, it's not an experiment, so it's a business, right? I'd love to make a TV show about that place. So, like, you get paid a certain amount of money and they'll keep somebody prisoner for you, and they'll do whatever you ask them to for certain prices. Essentially, that's what they do. So it's like a private prison, and they'll kidnap the person. So I'd quite like to have seen. It would be cool to see a spin-off or sequels that were just about the other people that were kept in all the other rooms, why they were there, and what the fuck was going on.
Because when before you get to the twist of the movie, it's quite compelling because you've got he's kidnapped but framed for the murder of his wife, and his daughter's given away to a family in Sweden, and it's about him acting revenge to get his name clear, to get his daughter back, and then there's this small window where he gets his revenge and stuff. That whole is like quite good, and then it's a twist that you're like, holy shit. To me, I'm like, this adds so much to the movie that takes it down a different avenue of watching, and then obviously for some people it's not for them. Let me give our missing morons thoughts on this. So he starts. Oh yeah. So he starts off. On reflection, I maybe should have typed this up after watching, but didn't think I would have such a gap from viewing. So I feel like he's dug us out there about like it being so long since it was recorded. I know. Fucking arsehole's taking the night off, but he's digging us out in his message. I really could be doing with a second viewing to try and get my head around what the fuck was actually going on. I genuinely did not enjoy this at all on first viewing, so maybe a second watch is no the best idea. It is very violent, and I can understand its appeal to some, but overall this film was not for me.
I thought it would be more on Daniel's side, to be fair.
No, I didn't think. I thought it would be me against everybody this week for this one. I definitely did. A couple of scenes that haven't been mentioned that I really like, and these are some of the reasons I like the film so much. See when he's sitting at the internet cafe, his best pal, and he's on the phone to him, like on the computer film, and he's getting spied on, and he's his sister slot, and he snaps the CD and stabs fuck at his neck with it. That was awesome. Like it was. What did you say, Sean?
That was also vile. I should have wrote that.
Oh no, I really like that bit. And what else was I going to say? I forgot. If it comes back to me, I'll end it up someday, right? But you can go into the scores if you want.
Well, let's just I obviously Hunter is the trivia man here. I've tried to have a look at some things in the background here. So one of the things is that the name Odysseus is originated from Oedipus, the tragic hero in Greek mythology who ended up falling in love with his own mother. So that's quite weird.
That's what Oedipus syndrome is, folk who love the name more.
The code for the elevator to the penthouse is 0604, and when you enter that on the official website, it'll lead to the guest book of the film. So go and fill the guest book in there. See how much you've enjoyed it, guys. There are many instances of cosmic justice throughout the film. So Odysseus' character talks too much. So at the end of the film, he gets his tongue cut off. Mr. Han, who's the man with the white hair, hears everything that Wu Jin did and still lets him do it. This is justified by getting stabbed in the ear and deafened at the end. Additionally, the imagery of Jesus, which Odysseus sees on the wall of his prison room, looked identical to Odysseus at the end of the movie during the big reveal. So there's a lot of like telling of what's going to happen at that point. There's constant parallels between Woo-Jin's sister and Mido, who is the daughter. Throughout the film, one of them is that Su'a and Mido dress predominantly in red clothing and are associated with a red colour, so like the red bike, the umbrella, the wallpaper, etc. So there's a lot of hints and tips all the way through it to let you know that it's going down that route. But as much as I remembered something along that lines, even when the twist hit, I was still shocked, which is probably one of the biggest thumbs up I can give to this movie, that it does have a proper shock factor to it. Scores on the doors, guys. Like I said about IMDb earlier, so I just wanted to highlight this because I was quite actually shocked to see this as well. 72nd best movie on IMDb, sitting at 557,000 people have rated it an 8.4 out of 10.
Just to back that up, Instagram unanimously gave this 4s and 5s, nothing below a 4.
I think, Daniel, you should kick us off with your thoughts, and then I'll give you Hunters directly after you.
Oh God. So I very much enjoy this. I think it's a really cool movie to watch, especially at school. I'm giving it a 4.25.
A 4.25. Hunter scored at a 1.5. Let's go to Sean.
0.5 for me.
Well, I can tell what's going to happen with the score here, so I'm going to jump in and give it a 4 out of 5 for me. Burnsy.
That's far I didn't expect from you. I'm going to give it. I was torn between a 1.5 and a 1.75, so because you two have scored it so high, it's getting a 1.5 to bring it down.
Oh, and what does that then take us to, Burnsy?
Oh, I need to do that actually. I forgot about that. I'm too busy writing down the actual scores for the same after.
Well, typically we would talk about the leaderboard itself, but I'm on a new device tonight and I've not logged everything in, so I don't have the leaderboard in front of me. I will have that by the end of the stream though.
Right. So then that's divided by 5.
I love.
It's an average of 2.35.
2.35. Daniel, how does that score make you feel?
I think it's actually higher than I expected. I thought you would have been with these guys, so I thought it was going to be my 4.25 and then lots of like the 0 point something. So it's better than I thought.
Oh, I can appreciate the artistic side of this film. Happy days. Let's move us on to another movie that people are going to be raving about in this chat that we were super excited to see at some point. Let's talk about Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. I've been absolute buzzing for this to come up. 2018, teen Miles Morales becomes the Spider-Man of his universe and must join with 5 spider-powered individuals from other dimensions to stop a threat for all realities. Now, before we go in to talk to this, and Daniel, we will come to you first again, I appreciate how relevant this is now with what's going on in things like the MCU. So I could totally get that there's going to be individuals in here that are not as geeky as Devil Daniel and a little bit of myself. But this makes so much more sense now that I've seen it for a second time at this point than I did the first time I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah.
But Daniel, I'll let you take away with your thoughts.
I once again, I fucking love this. I think this is the way this is animated is so different, like to anything else that's been about. Definitely in the last like 20 years, it looks so different. It's not like your typical Pixar where everything looks the same now. Like every single animated movie looks the same, and this manages to look totally different. It's almost like watching a comic book, which is like a massive compliment for me. See the points where they like freeze it inside a comic book frame, and like they'll take you on a little journey and they'll give you, and it's not, and the reason it's like reading a comic book, right? See if you're going through a big event story in a comic book, you don't just read a comic, you'll read the main story, and then you'll need all the origin stories of the side characters. So this is what this movie does. Whenever a new character's introduced, it does what you would do when you were reading. It gives you their origin and where they come from, and it jumps back to the main story. And like that, just the whole format of it is perfect for the way that my brain works. Like, these are my types of stories that I love. The reason that this can do a lot more than a Spider-Man movie normally can do is because it's animated. You don't have the restrictions of realism. So like, there's no limits to how like over the top it can be and how outrageous it can be, and that's what a comic book should be. And on top of that, you've got a really cool wee story. Like Miles Morales is a cool character that I like anyway before this, and in his universe that's his origin. And then now it's a good way to introduce a new character to like folk maybe like Burnsy and Sean that don't only know Spider-Man, the main Spider-Man. Like Kyle will tell you. See, trying to explain to our pal Dave that there's more than one Robin. 4 or 5 different Robins that he can't get into his head.
And that's in the same universe.
And that's in the same universe. But if he watches Titans, he would understand. And this is a bit like that, right? So I think it's a good introduction for if you'd watch this, and then obviously where the MCU's going. It's now going much more down this sort of style of storytelling. So it was cool that Sony. This is the only good thing Sony's ever done with a comic book movie. Like, I really don't like the other Spider-Mans. I only love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think the rest of them are pish. And but this is like, I'm going to use a word, and then Sean's going to shite on this, and I'm going to be sad. But I think this is like a wee masterpiece. Like, class. It's an amazing comic book story that I got to watch on a massive telly. And Miles Morales, the relationship with his dad and his uncle, and the twist where you think that his uncle's the fucking villain. It's class. Love it. I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to be sad in a minute.
Well, I think we should then. You mentioned Sean, so let's just shoot straight towards Sean to get his thoughts.
Where do I start?
Wait, before you start, Sean, how excited were you to watch this movie?
Oh, zero. Absolute zero.
What genre does this movie fall into?
Kids.
Cartoons?
Kids, this should be in the kids section of Netflix. What I would say is, and I never really thought about this until Daniel was talking, I can understand like how high it's regarded, because obviously there's it's basically tailored to certain people who are into this kind of thing, and obviously they'll get casuals that'll latch on to it and enjoy it as well. I just wasn't one of these, but yeah, I don't fucking clue. I've never read a comic book in my life, so the things that Daniel appreciated there, what he was saying about kind of teasing and explaining about new characters like a comic book, that totally goes over my head, because I've never read a comic book. Well, that I can remember, I'd imagine I did when I was a child. That's not a dig or anything. Honestly, that's not a dig. That's not a comic book. So, obviously, and again, as Daniel said, I only know Spider-Man from maybe cartoons when I was younger, if I can remember, and also from like the films like Tobey Maguire. I've never even seen the Amazing Spider-Man films either, but Tobey Maguire's, and then obviously Tom Holland one. Tom Holland, sorry. But I just, to be completely honest, and without sounding like a total prick and all that, because I know that there is people that enjoy it, obviously my pals enjoy it and stuff, but it's just no for me at all. I genuinely did feel that I was watching like a kind of kids cartoon. I'll be honest, the first kind of 20 minutes I did enjoy, like you getting introduced to this Miles Morales boy, and he's obviously going through high school and stuff like that, like, getting dropped off with his dad, and his dad wanting to tell me he loved him and stuff like that in front of his pals. I'm sure everybody can relate to stuff like that. Younger and being embarrassed in front of their mom or whatever, giving your mom a kiss goodnight in front of your pals, whatever nonsense it is like that. I thought this could actually be alright, but then once Spider-Man was introduced, it just totally went like ultra geek mode for me, and it's no for me at all. And then the wee pig, when it was all the other Spider-Hams for the different universes, and that pig came out, I just about turned it off. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. This spider pig, how can that like save people? Just it's a wee tiny thing you can put it in a pocket. It's like a micro pip. I did like Nicolas Cage's stint in it though. I wasn't actually sure it was his voice at first. That was unexpected. I didn't know he was a voice actor in this, so I did quite find that quite funny, considering I've done a few of his films and seen as a bit of a kind of sometimes a bit of a joke figure, I suppose. But nah, it's just totally no for me. I know I've had a laugh and a joke in the chat about saying it's a kids' cartoon and stuff like that, but there was parts where it didn't really feel like that to me. But again, it was always going to be the case that I don't think I was ever going to like it. It's just not my kind of film. But after hearing Daniel, I can truly appreciate and understand why people who are into that kind of stuff, the comic book side and all that kind of thing, I can appreciate why people would like it.
I mean, it's awesome. It's so good. But again, I'm in that element of Daniel with the geekiness of it, and it becomes a lot more relevant with what's going on with the multiverse and stuff. And this is a really good opening for people to understand Marvel's multiverse that is going down. There's so much good parts in this, and it's when you hear all the different voices that you touched on there about Nicolas Cage and stuff. And I was just looking over some of the actors that are voice actors in this. You've got things like people like Zoe Kravitz, Liv Schreiber, Chris Pine's in it, Oscar Isaacs is in it. There's loads of really good, well-known actors that are in the movie. I watched this movie pretty much over the space of 2 days, but I kept going back and rewinding parts to watch them again that I just really enjoyed. It was good to see the development of Miles Morales, because that will eventually be Spider-Man in the MCU movies, and it's kind of been hinted that that's going to be the next avenue that it goes down, and it's someone that I'm not overly knowledgeable on. I think it's more from playing the bloody computer game that I've learned more about Miles Morales than anything. Burnsy, I'm interested to see your thoughts on this cartoon that Sean's described.
Well, Daniel explained it as a cartoon as well, to be fair. He just said it was a good cartoon. I think similar to OldBoy is like, I think it was better than what Sean's suggesting, but nowhere near as good as what you and Daniel have suggested. But it's similar to Sean, the Marvel films and that, they're just not really kind of my bag. I thought what was good about it is that you could just I felt it could be, you could actually just watch it as a standalone. It wasn't as if you really had to have any knowledge going in. Whereas I thought Miles's character was good throughout it. Quite a bit of development in it, obviously, as the film goes on, and then obviously he's got that relationship with his uncle when he's younger, and he seems to like love like the way it seems to his life is going, and then obviously as the film progresses, you realise that he's on the other side, and then obviously his uncle ends up dying. But I thought when Miles was getting trained by Spider-Man, I thought some of those scenes were quite amusing. It was amusing at some stages. It was quite fun to watch at other stages. The animations were really good, I thought, but it wasn't boring me. But it's just the fact that I've not really got any major interest in these kind of films. That was obviously the big issue. And going into it, I knew that's what I knew I wasn't ever going to score a high product before watching it. But it was better than what I expected it to be. I wasn't thinking this is boring the shit out of me, or I wasn't thinking like we're far too old to be watching this stuff or anything like that. And I can appreciate, like Sean says, that why people will like it, but I'm just not a Marvel geek like you two, so it was never going to be a spot for me. But I think it was definitely better than the first monstrosity I went to watch anyway. So that's a good.
The first monstrosity that we had to watch.
I agree with that. I would, if I had to choose between this and OldBoy, I would definitely watch this every single time.
I would watch it in the Spiderverse back to back instead of OldBoy again.
I would watch it in reverse.
Well, let's get some of Hunter's thoughts here. So you put, I understand this may not be for everyone, however I enjoyed it. This is more than just a cartoon for me, and very well done, and can be enjoyed by people of all ages. Now, knowing that the multiverse is a thing in the MCU, this is a good stopgap done by the old studio before the MCU story evolved and the latest film was released. It was good exploring the Miles Morales character as Spider-Man, and then the different versions of Spider-Man, including Spider-Pig, which reminded me a lot of Loki, where there was a croc Loki, which made me happy and made me smile. So he appreciated Spider-Pig, Sean.
He's absolutely steaming. You can tell he's absolutely
Right, you see that, Sean? You can tell.
steaming. He's absolutely steaming. Like, he's intended.
Made me smile. He's pissed.
Just for clarification, guys, he sent me this at 10:26 in the morning. So
That was him, man.
just getting him. Then he's put, I'm looking forward to the next installment of this chapter, also and seeing how the storyline and timeline will evolve, and if there may be a crossover with the MCU storyline. It's a fucking proper glowing reference from our boy Hunter, eh?
I expected. Like, see, one thing I wanted to mention, like, see, one of the reasons that I really like the sort of the genre with comic books, and like, see, the Spider-Pig thing's a good example, right? And Marvel actually calls some of their comic books this, but they answer all your what if questions. So, like, there's no TV shows or like movies, anything else that's like that, right? But you go, what if Spider-Man was a little Japanese girl with a robot sound? We'll show you. What if Spider-Man was a pig? What if Spider-Man was black and white and for the 30s? And any idea that anyone can come up with, they can make into a reality. And I just think, I know some of it's daft, right? But if you lean into the concept that a multiverse exists, that means every single thing that possibly can exist will exist. So if a multiverse was to be there, it would be like mental shit, like fucking superpower pigs and shit. So I love it. No, there's no hindrance to imagination in comic books. That's why I think it's so good.
Yeah. No.
Honestly, like, you can literally do anything. Like,
Aye.
nothing's really off limits. I'm sure putting fucking, I don't know, an animated version of fucking somebody shagging his dad shagging his daughter would be off limits and these kind of things. But like, literally nothing is off limits and all. So that side, again, I can appreciate it, but it's just totally no my cup of tea. And I enjoy the odd kind of Marvel film, superhero film and stuff like that. But there's loads of there that I don't like as well.
Aye, and this is really leaning hard into the geeky side of it, like, definitely. I didn't expect this to be for everyone. I thought all three movies tonight were going to have contrasting scores.
See, I thought the opposite. I didn't think it leaned that far into the geeky stuff. Because I thought it was something you could watch standalone. I was thinking, I was going in thinking I was going to be completely confused as the film progressed, but I wasn't.
Well, that's good.
Fair play, fair play. Just to touch on some trivia that I'm looking through, you guys are finding quite interesting, is at the beginning of the movie, the famous phrase, with great power comes great responsibility, is actually said by Cliff Robertson, who played Uncle Ben in the original Spider-Man trilogy by Tobey Maguire. The quote was pulled from Spider-Man 2002's archive footage, as Cliff Robertson had passed away in 2011. It's quite a cool little nod there. According to the comic book writer Brian Michael Bendis, Miles uses his mother's last name because his dad was a secret agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And wanted to keep Miles safe. By the time Jefferson was no longer an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Miles was too old to change his name. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a great wee series to watch as well if you want to really go into the background of how it all ties in together. There is... Where did it go? So, of all the alternate universe versions of Spider-Man, Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham, appeared in print first, and Penny Parker was the last to make her debut. So Spider-Ham was introduced in the Marvel Tales starring Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham, in 1983. Now, I'm actually hating the fact that Sean doesn't have his camera on here because I would have loved to have seen his facial expressions of those last couple of sentences talking about Spider-Ham.
Peter Parker.
Have any of you watched the TV show Big Mouth? And it's animated as well, so Sean will not watch it, but you should watch it, Kyle. It's an adult animated thing on there.
Nope.
None of you's watched it? It's about kids going through puberty. It's fucking hilarious. But anyway, you should all watch it. But one of the voices for that plays Spider-Pig. Or Spider-Ham, sorry.
Well, and there's this here that Spider-Ham's final line, "That's all, folks," is a tagline of Porky Pig from the ending of Looney Tunes cartoons. Spider-Ham never removes his mask, and the outline of his head and body bear a remarkable resemblance to Porky Pig, which we obviously all new. There's absolutely millions of trivia about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but one of the most important parts here, guys, is it is an Oscar winner for Best Animated Feature Film in 2019.
Best cartoon, as John calls it.
What's it? Can't you call it a film because it's cartoon?
It's just a really long cartoon episode.
Just a really, really long one, is it?
I can't wait to watch the second one and talk about it again.
Well, Sean, what's really funny is the year that it won the Best Animated Feature Film, it actually beat Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is a favourite of yours, isn't it?
I've still not seen it all, remember. I've only watched the first 45 minutes and I realise it's a long film, but what a 45 minutes it was. And that actually dispels that myth that I don't like animated films. Ralph Breaks the Internet too.
The film that you've never went back to watch.
All-time favourite film that I've yet to finish.
Happy days. Well, do you want to come on to some scores for this, Daniel? What did Instagram have to say first of all?
So this was one of those ones that there was like too many scores to count. We had loads and loads of folk. And again, pretty much unanimously 4s and 5s. So
I think for the audience specifically, we'll all have on Instagram, we'll all appreciate this type of film and kind of probably be more ticking the boxes than any of the other films that we've had up in a long time. What I liked is when Hunter said about this is a film that can be enjoyed by all ages, because like I've spoke to like nephews about this that are like 7 and 8 year old and absolutely love it, and I'm proper geeking out, same excited as them because it's class. Well, let's get into the scoring side. Daniel, kick us off, and we'll follow the same suit as what we did for the last one.
I'll just be quick with this, and that's a 4.75 for me.
Look at Burnsy's face. Funny, Burnsy's just made the most condescending looking face I've ever seen in my life. Sean.
I'm not going to be as brutal as OldBoy, so I'm going to give this a solid 1.5.
A 1.5. Surprisingly, Hunter is a lot higher. Unsurprisingly, probably. Hunter's going for a 3.75. And then I'll just jump in there with a 4.5 from me. And then Burnsy crashes back down to reality, please, my friend.
So I'm going to give it a 2.25.
Never thought.
Yeah.
I thought I'd given it a fairly accurate review based on that, but maybe not.
Like that. He's given it an accurate review, like we haven't.
Yeah, pretty much. Sean's like the most accurate out of all us, but me. That overall is a very high score of 3.35.
3.35. So 3.35 takes this movie just above Spirited Away. Another criminally low movie.
It's the exact same thing happened. It's happened again. I can't believe it's probably the exact same scores.
Well, listen, you're right. See, the next time that a cartoon comes up, me and Bumsy will take the week off and you can put it fucking toffee, whatever fucking cartoon the bonies want to put it at.
What?
The agreement has to be that me and Sean don't need to watch it either. I'm not going to watch it and I'll give a score.
What makes this work is that we have different views, and that is the score that it gets.
What's also interesting is it puts it joint alongside Battle Royale, which is another movie that typically doesn't, like a genre that typically wouldn't do well across all five of us at the same time.
We've watched some like a good assortment of movies. Like there's very few movies that are similar in the big list, which I like. This is why the categories things worked out quite well.
Well, let's go on to the movie that we decided to all go to the cinema to see when it came out. At a whopping 2 hours and 56 minutes long, The Batman, released in 2022. Now, if you are listening to this and you haven't seen The Batman, of course, spoilers will follow this. That's why we specifically left this till the end. So come back and listen at a later time when you've seen it. So, When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. We've come to you first, the last two movies, Daniel. Let's just keep that going.
Sound. I do have quite a gap between watching this and talking about it because I spent the first maybe 3 or 4 days. People kept asking me, "What did you think of the Batman movie?" And I was like, "I'm still not sure." Like it took me out. Like I had to really sit like using it right. So it could have potentially been amazing, right? And there's just a few things that annoyed me about it. I'm going to sound like Sean here. It is too long, right? It's not because the hours long. It's because they've tried to put far too much into one movie. Like,
Daniel, I think when we actually watched it at the cinema, when we looked, it wasn't actually anywhere near 3 hours long at the cinema, which is bizarre. Because I actually remember when, because I'm sure I looked at my watch and Barry, but it felt like a 3.5 hour film, or even longer than that. But I don't think it is actually. I don't think Kel's running time's actually. I know that's what it says in that, but I'm sure it's actually a lot shorter than that.
No, it's like 2 hours and like the actual screen time of the film. It's like 2 hours 35, 2 hours 40.
Yeah.
so,
it feels a lot longer than that. I just wanted to say that there because.
Aye, it does feel long, and you don't want I love a long movie, but you don't want it to feel like a long movie. Like in comparison, we all went to see Spider-Man at the cinema, which was also a very long movie, and it didn't feel anywhere near as long. And what I think, and I took a while thinking about it, and it's because see the whole gangster criminal thing that was going on in the background, where like the mob boss and all that being overturned, like that's an extra layer of the story we didn't really need. Like just have him and the Riddler and him solving the fucking riddles. I don't think you needed the whole too much of the criminal underworld going on, and like I actually thought Colin Farrell as a Penguin was really good, right? But see who wasn't in the movie, would it have made it any different?
No.
And that's I kind of felt a wee bit empty about some of these things because it was almost just like they were putting cool things on the screen rather than trying to tie together like a story where they meant anything. If you took Catwoman out of this movie, would it really make much difference?
I thought she was class in it.
Class. I didn't get me wrong, I think she was amazing. I think she's my favourite ever fuck's sake. My favourite ever Catwoman. I think it was class. But was she really integral to the movie?
I thought Batman was quite poor in it, so like that was the big issue I had with it. I actually I'm not obviously it wouldn't have worked if she was the main character, but like I thought she was far superior to Batman in the film. So for me, you did actually need her because I think if she wasn't in it, I would have scored it lower than what I will.
I know. I just mean what I mean is that like trying to put too much into the story is what I meant, right? Let's say you were saying about how good or bad Robert Pattinson is as Batman, then that's all anyone really fucking cares about it.
Can't wait for this.
Any comments, any reviews, it's all just like Robert Pattinson was either a good Batman or a shit Batman. That's what folk care about.
Let's do around the house and just give a yea or nay on, and then we can elaborate when we come to it, right?
I think he was a good Batman.
I'll go one further and say I think he's been the best Batman.
Oh, Sean's going to disagree now.
I'll go average to poor.
What did you think, Sean?
I thought it was a really good Batman.
There we go. Cool. I'm excited to come with your thoughts on this on the film now.
I feel like he's lying to us.
He might be lying. No.
That's true.
Sean's a big Twilight fan though.
But I actually really liked him as. Sorry, I cut you off there, Sean. When you were going to tell us about Twilight.
No, I was just going to say I've never seen Twilight.
So what's I should added in there, Daniel, first is that when I say I thought he was better as Batman than he was Bruce Wayne, but the Bruce Wayne character was, so I should maybe explain that a bit better when I said, so his Batman character was maybe good, max, but the John Wayne,
John Wayne!
the Bruce Wayne character, oh my god, that was awful.
I quite liked the evil Bruce Wayne. he was really sulky and all that. Again, I didn't like Alfred, even though I like him as an actor. I didn't like Alfred. And I didn't like Commissioner Gordon. I thought he was pissed.
Brilliant.
Did you really like it?
I liked him. I thought he was really good. I thought he was much better than what's his name again?
Gary
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Aye, Moe's brother from EastEnders. I thought he was much better than him.
There you go. This is interesting. Right.
Sorry,
After I took time thinking about it to finish my wee thought process, I think it's good, but maybe not as great as I came out. I came out thinking it was really good, and you know why? It looks amazing. Like, it was visually class. Like, everything about it was cool. And it took a lot. It would spend a long time on each shot sometimes. And this ties in with what we're talking about with the Spiderverse. It might not be picked up if they're actually looking for it. But they framed loads of stuff like comic book frames in this film. So the camera will sit at a still, and you get like an iconic shot, and it stays there for a few seconds, then it moves over the film. Like, that's a really deliberate thing they've done to make it look like a Batman comic. And like, I like seeing the way Batman just appears in the room with like the slow walk and all that. I just thought it was a really cool element to it. I thought it was a class Batman. It looked awesome, but it just maybe wasn't amazing.
Do you know, just to touch on the look, they obviously purposely decided to have Gotham be really true to what it's suggested in the comics as an utter shithole.
That's why they did it in Glasgow.
Exactly that. They couldn't have filmed it in a better location. But it's like, I remember all the hype about it. Batman's being filmed in Glasgow. This is amazing. Like, Batman in Glasgow. Daniel, you mentioned it as well when you were working at the time. Like, Batman's getting filmed here. Or to make it look a shithole.
Fishing at the end of the full time.
Oh, brilliant. I really enjoyed that. Let's come to Burnsy then. Burnsy, let's touch into your thoughts about Rob Pattinson as a Batman and the movie as a whole.
Aye, so as Batman, I thought he was alright. Nothing spectacular. But yeah, as I sort of said before, the Bruce Wayne character, or John Wayne as I call him, it was just, obviously you're meant to be sympathetic towards him, but I just couldn't be bothered with him really. But as Daniel touched on, the film itself just seemed to drag on. I think for me though, it was more the ending that seemed to drag on. It just could have been cut so many times when we were getting to the end. They just extended and extended and extended. And at that point, I was kind of like, you knew what the outcome was going to be. So you could have cut it 10, 15, 20 minutes in advance of that. It just felt as if I was kind of at the stage like, just go and finish now. Which is because it did drag on throughout it, I thought. But in terms of all the characters and then obviously them trying to find out who what are the clues that the Riddler's given them, I thought that was quite interesting. Really enjoyed the storyline. As I say, I thought the Catwoman, she was class. I thought Paul Dano, he was really impressive too. And then the person that played Falcone, I don't know what the guy's name was. I thought they were all really good throughout the film. There was a couple of stages where there was obviously so many names in terms of the police officers and who they're investigating, who they thought the informant was. There was at stages that I was kind of lost just because it was people that weren't main characters. I was sort of saying names and I'm like, who's that guy? Which is maybe just my lack of. I don't know if it was. I don't know if these people were in. Take it these people weren't in any previous ones. It was just maybe there was just too many characters possibly, which, like you said, Daniel, if they maybe made it a bit of a more straightforward case, then you wouldn't have had that confusion. I did like the scenes where they had the Selena going back to the club and also the funeral scene with the cars coming flying through. Thought those were really well done. The only bit, see when they discovered the corpse of Selena's friend in the back of the car? Like, why was a corpse just lying in the back of a motor? You think you would have, because it wasn't as if it just happened. That would just seem really bizarre to me.
Can't even think that.
You can't remember that, Sean.
No, I can't remember them finding the body.
See, that's because there was too many things happening in this movie. Too many things happening. Like
it was like when I can't even remember who it was. It was Selena that discovered that. I think she was going in there thinking there was drugs in that, and then she opened the boot, and then there was our pal's body was lying there.
Was that just before we first saw the Batmobile?
yeah, she was trying to find the money. She was trying to get the money, or whatever she was trying to get. See, again, I don't know what she was even trying to get. I can't see. That's what I mean. Like, she was a really good Catwoman, but I don't even really. It's hard to even remember what her real motivation in the film was. Like,
I think obviously she was wanting to get her own, but she not wanting to get her own back on her father because obviously it came out that her father was Falcone, but obviously she doesn't.
see, again, too many twists.
And then obviously noting that because at the start it's like this sounds weird considering we're talking about OldBoy before, but I actually thought you'd had a relationship with him, and obviously it turns out like later on it's her father. I'm glad they go down that route. I'm like, but no, I thought it was the only downside, as I say, was just I didn't think Batman was superb in it, good at most, and it was a bit too long, and also there was parts that I was confused by. But all the other points that Daniel made about it, I think, especially you made, were valid in terms of how it was. It looked really impressive watching it. And I can see why people would rate it really highly, but not as highly as what I'm going to give it.
Alright, yeah. Just to touch on a couple of points you made there, like, see where you say you kept thinking it was going to end. I was the same. See the whole like 25 minutes. I'm like, I was getting ready to get up. Like, Madison was it? No, Madison Square Garden. It's fucking Gotham City. But by the time the explosions had happened, the flood. I'm like, there's a flood now. Why the fuck's there a flood? Like,
the thing is, you could easily just said, right, there's this flood, and they didn't need to show you them all the fight scenes and killing folk and getting everything okay. They could have just spent like 2 minutes on that and then showed you the following day the carnage that was caused. You didn't need to see 15 minutes of that. And it was far too much at the end.
I know you didn't like. You were saying that you didn't really feel sort of sympathetic towards Bruce Wayne, right? The way I've always looked at Batman, and this is maybe why I see it a bit differently, is I've never liked Bruce Wayne. I don't really think you're supposed to like Bruce Wayne. He's like a spoiled inheritance billionaire. Do you know what I mean? And I've never at any point really liked Bruce Wayne at all. I've never thought you were supposed to really be on his side as Bruce Wayne because he's a fucking rich boy billionaire with a butler that does everything for him. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, I've never really related to any sort of Bruce Wayne character, so that bit didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe that because obviously when he finds out he thinks his mum and dad are all these perfect people, and obviously it turns out his dad's, or well, not an instigator, journalist shot, but that's what ends up happening, and all that kind of stuff. And he was what was it about? I can't remember. He was part of the stealing money. What was he doing? Stealing money or something? I can't remember what he was doing.
Again, far too many layers to the story. Like, you're now going back to his mum and dad, who are not even characters that you were introduced to try and think about bad things they did for, like, again.
And then he comes up with his mum and dad, and he's like obviously upset, and he's like, I had no idea. Even at that point, because of the way, I don't know if it was the lines or the way I thought he was just expressionless throughout it. I don't know if it was that. I was just kind of like, I don't really care if you're upset or not. Like,
I felt it throughout it that the way Rob Pattinson plays it is that he's no interest in being Bruce Wayne the whole film. He's Batman. He's developing his character as Batman. He's only interested in that type of it, which obviously is really early stages of Batman. And what I like about it in comparison to other Batman films is that, like, he's rough in terms of his ability. Like, Batman's the world's greatest detective, right? And when you watch him, he's not even the best detective throughout this film. He's making mistakes. He's a little bit slow. He's a little bit behind. But you can see he's got the knowledge. So he's got the knowledge, but he can't implement it quite to what he does, which I predict that he'll do in movies 2, 3, 4, however much it goes down. It'll be more refined. And this is where I think this trilogy will be better than the Nolan trilogy, because it's going to develop him better rather than having a specific movie that's purely about how he becomes Batman. This is him growing as Batman whilst dealing with the Riddler. Because when you watch TV shows like Gotham and stuff, you start to realise that these characters they've all grown up there in Gotham. They don't just appear as a bad guy for a month, terrorise them, then fuck off. They're there for a sustained period of time. I like let's take the opening train scene where you've got those people with their face painted and stuff. The boy with half his face painted, and who is a character in Titans. Maybe a little nod. He's Tim Drake.
Tim Drake. Aye.
So that the boy with half his face painted who's being encouraged to assault member of the public is in Titans. Sorry?
And he becomes Robin.
He does. He becomes a Robin. In case Dave listens and loses his fucking mind. But you see, like, he's obviously fighting all these, like, thugs, right? But he's getting his ass kicked at points, and he's getting hit, and he's taking shots and stuff. He's not just went in there with a couple of gadgets, tied them all up, whipped all their asses, and he's the hero, fucked off. I liked him at the times that he would take a beating, or he'd take a shot, or he didn't quite have the martial arts ability that you're used to seeing him in all these other movies. And he had some gadgets, but they were shit in comparison to what you see in other ones, again, because he's trying to develop, I suppose, as it goes on. I thought Rob Pattinson played the part of Bruce Wayne / Batman perfectly, and I much more enjoy it to the Christian Bale. I always thought Christian Bale was a really unlikable Batman. But I would say I tried not to when I was watching. I tried not to compare it to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and stuff, because they are two different elements of the story completely. And that's more of the sad geeky side, when there is again so many different styles of Batman throughout the comics, and different things that his mum and dad have been up to, and different ways that they died. But inevitably they'll be compared.
Aye, I mean, I just wanted to jump in and say I totally agree with pretty much everything you said about how you assessed that there. Do you know what it is? This will maybe only mean something to you, but in the comics that I think of the New 52, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Aye, right. So in DC they did like a complete like retcon, just started again. They just said like nothing else has ever happened. This is the start of the comic books again, right? So you basically had Batman being the same character for decades and decades and decades, and now they started the story again. And this is a bit like that. So like Kyle said, I do like the fact that he doesn't just beat everybody easily. And the joke that is always made about Batman's superpowers is that he knows the plot, and he just knows how the end's going to work. And seen him being flawed, and he thought the Riddler knew who he was, for example. Like he thought Riddler had figured out his identity. Now, we're never used to seeing Batman feeling like he's being caught out. That's just not what you normally see. So it's quite good, interesting seeing him sort of develop like that, like you said. And I think the second movie is going to introduce the Court of Owls into this. I think it'll be class to set such a good, what's the word? A good universe for it, like the style and everything. It'll be class. Court of Owls might not mean anything to you guys, but it'll be class if they do it.
And who's going to be the bad guy in Batman 2? Was he introduced towards the end of Batman?
No, I don't think so. So I think, for what I've been told, when I say been told, that sounds like I'm an insider.
Yeah, fucking. You got Zoe Kravitz on the line, have you?
No, for what I read, that's going to be a separate Arkham Asylum movie.
Nice. Arkham Asylum movie would be awesome. What's just to come back to this one, I've not mentioned Paul Dano, but Paul Dano is the man of this movie. When you see that he was cast as the Riddler, it's one of those appointments where you're like, yep, that works. I don't need to watch it. I know he's going to be fucking awesome at that. And it's just refreshing to see the Riddler no jumping about in a green suit with question marks over it, being flamboyant and ridiculous. It was like, let's get more of the sadistic side of it going on. So, yeah.
More believable to me.
Aye. This was a much more down to earth Batman that wasn't over the top. It was trying to be a believable real life. I mean, when you compare like the Colin Farrell Penguin to say the one you saw with Danny DeVito when he basically had fucking flippers and that. I mean, and he would eat fish. When you think about it. So this is much more grounded in reality than that, I suppose.
Well, it's and again, I forgot watching this that it was Colin Farrell. You just, for me, I was like, shit. It just was an actor who was doing a good performance. He doesn't have much screen time, but doesn't really need it. He's again, it's like a character development for him. You see him being the manipulative way that he is in the background, and he's going to have a bigger story arc to that in the future. And it's one of those ones where they might put a pin in him for the next movie and bring him in in a third movie, where he's becomes the bigger entity of what he is. And again, like watching the TV show in Gotham, he does that from a younger age as he slowly manipulates loads of little things back and forward. It's like a long game for him. Not that they two tie in, but it just gives you a bit more of a background on it as well. The interesting with the character that has been assigned to the role of Joker, the actor, sorry, because he's obviously in Marvel as well, and the Eternals. So yeah, I thought that was quite a strange one. Zoe Kravitz, I thought she was brilliant. Yeah, I'm a big Anne Hathaway fan, so this was hard to see who's my favourite Catwoman, but Zoe Kravitz plays it excellent throughout the whole movie. I'm pretty sure Burnsy leaned into me the whole film and just shouted the word bangers. Just constantly for 3 hours, Burnsy. Appreciate that.
You never said, you didn't say anything about it.
Mate.
You just said she was a nice, she was a good actress, that was all you said.
Shut my eyes every time she came on the screen, to be honest.
That makes it sound worse because you were just fantasizing.
In a dark cinema.
It looks even weird if you're wanking with your eyes open, to be fair.
Nothing to do with the filled out, packed out cinema people there, eh?
Some shut your eyes, Sean.
And Burnsy whispering bangers in my ears. Sean, let's divert this conversation from me to you.
Thanks for bringing me in there, guys. I didn't want to ruin the...
Well, I thought about masturbation then. I thought, oh, Sean.
I've kind of written down a few things just kind of before we were talking about this, just about stuff that I thought about it. I liked well, actually, to start when we got in the car, me, Daniel, and Bunzy were in the car, Bunzy was driving us, and I said I didn't like the Bruce Wayne, but I liked the Batman, but I went back on that. Like, it's just the way anime always, again, to go back to what we were talking about, the Spiderverse stuff, like, I've seen all the Batmans, and like, I'm not like massive on that side, and like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's just for me, like, I don't compare it to like the previous Batmans and stuff. I never compared Christian Bale's Batman to the previous ones, even though it's obviously miles better. I don't really look to compare this to Christian Bale's or fucking George Clooney's or whatever. But like, it's just obviously for me, I see it as like it's somebody else's take on like the Batman and Bruce Wayne character. Because I thought, like, I said it when the trailer came out, I'm sure I put it in the chat, like, he looks very strange, he actually looked like a vampire, like, with his Twilight days and stuff like that, like, very, very pale, very moody, kind of weird hair, like, kind of emo, kind of weird hair. But what I liked about it was is that, like, before I seen this, if you say to me, like, describe Bruce Wayne, I would describe like a flash flamboyant wanker, basically. But this is like completely different. This is like somebody who looks like he's like fucking, I don't know, just a total recluse. And I know that there's different tales of Bruce Wayne when he has been a recluse and stuff. I'm sure Christian Bale and Batman Begins was a bit of a recluse. He's correct if I'm wrong, but I'm talking shit there. But I like that side of it. I like the Batmobile. Because let's just remember that this just is like a rich guy. Basically, he's got his parents' inheritance. It's a lot more realistic, the Batmobile. It's just a fucking muscle car. And with Christian Bale's tumbling fucking alien shit, whatever the fuck that was. Like, I just find this much realistic for a millionaire vigilante to cut about in. Like, it's a lot less flash, a lot more kind of powerful, and a lot more intimidating than whatever the fuck Christian Bale had. I liked that there was very little Batcave, and I hate the Batcave. I despise that. I've always despised it. I think it's stupid. In the middle of what is basically meant to be New York City, there is a Batcave. I find that utterly ridiculous. Like a waterfall that you drive through, a load of nonsense. So I'm glad that any scene that we did get to see him at home was either in the mansion or sitting at, I remember anyway, sitting in like that bit with a computer or something. I can't really remember, but there was like a Batcave as such, which I like, because I hate that. I think it's so stupid. I like that there was a lot less like gadgets. You touched on it, Kyle. Like again, he's just a guy who goes about trying to stop criminals. Like I know he's rich and all that, but I just like the simplicity of him just being mysterious. Basically, as the film says, he hears the shadows and stuff like that. Like the introduction to Batman in this film was perfect. It was really well done. Like it kind of built up really well. Obviously, that was at the start of the film with using the train with the face paint and all that. But I just liked that there was a lot less kind of gadgety shit that you had on him and stuff like that. Like, I just liked that. And also, when he jumped off the building, he was shiting himself. Like, you could see he was shiting it, and I thought that was good as well, because he's just a guy, as I said about for the fifth time, he's just a guy in a fucking heavy suit. Why would you not be shiting yourself if you're jumping off that? I know you've got as a cape. And he showed quite a lot of, like, when he was getting battered at times through the film, like, you could hear him, like, kind of grunting and in pain and stuff like that, and I like that, because, again, he isn't a superhero, he's like a souped-up policeman, basically.
A souped-up policeman?
But he is just a normal kind of human, but a lot of this film just kind of felt like if you had this whole film the way it was, right, and you took Batman out and you replaced him with a normal policeman, it would still be a good film as well. It's just like a good detective film, and I wasn't expecting that. Like I was expecting loads of fucking big fight scenes and all that kind of stuff that you associate with Batman. But like I quite like this taking it where it was like a kind of a lot like Seven, I suppose, in a way that it's like just a kind of crime, kind of mystery kind of thing, kind of puzzly and stuff like that. So I did like that. I don't imagine that it's going to be like that in other two films that they're going to do. I'd imagine they'll go, as Kyle said, it'll evolve and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. Like, it was nice to see that instead of like the fucking page-old boring origin story and all that piss. Like, it's just absolute. I don't think anybody can be doing with that. And the same goes for Spider-Man. He's been done to death, and it's just so dull. Everybody knows his story. You don't need to see it done over and over again. But no, like I did really enjoy it. I don't think it felt that long at all. As to what Daniel and Bubsy are saying, but it definitely wasn't in the full 3 hours anyway, because I think the film started at like 8:25, and we were out for I can't even remember, 11:10 we were out for, I think it was. So it definitely wasn't in the full 3 hours, but I don't think it dragged on at all. I didn't like I know that Daniel said that he doesn't think that the Joker will be in the next film, but I didn't like that kind of nudge to the Joker. He's been done to death, especially so recently, where obviously we had the Joker film. I know it's a totally different character, different actor than portraying it, but like, I'd like to see Mr. Freeze make a return. So with you guys, I would like to see Mr. Freeze at some point to be played by somebody other than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What, The Rock or something?
I'd actually be a good shout. Paul.
Oh, the idea of Mr. Freeze, that'd probably be bottom of my list of villains to introduce into the universe.
About 4 Batman villains, so you're always in a better position than I am about who you would want to see and stuff like that. My knowledge of Batman is the films, and that is it. Like, I don't know, I've never read the comic books and stuff like that. It is literally just the films. The Penguin, before we go into the Penguin, I've never been a fan of Catwoman. Going back to, was it Batman Returns? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah.
I just remember being like, it's just pure weird about as a child watching like her with her cats and all that, and it just kind of stems for that. And the Dark Knight Rises, I didn't particularly enjoy like the Catwoman either. It's just not a character I'm particularly enamoured on. I thought obviously it was a good performance and stuff like that, but again, like, I'm just not a fan of the Catwoman. The Penguin, I really like the Penguin. I said to Daniel, like, I hated Danny DeVito's Penguin because it was just so stupid. Like I watched, you know, the first half of Batman Returns a couple of weeks ago was in Sky Movies. So I sat and watched it. I'm like, this is so daft. It's so stupid. But I thought this was much better. Like, a kind of better portrayal of like a more realistic kind of villain than like a kind of midget, floppy, fucking eating fish character that's just load of nonsense. But I certainly like the direction it's going in. There is absolutely no doubt that Christopher Nolan's Batman is the kind of benchmark. The stuff before it was pure intercut dross when you go back and watch it. Like I think of Jim Carrey's Riddler and Two-Face from who was it played Two-Face again?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. Just totally ridiculous portrayals of the villains, just so over the top and stuff like that. It was almost like that kind of circus film, really. Just felt really stupid. So I like the way it's going, and I just think it's a lot more realistic. What I would like to see in the next one, as I said, apart from Mr. Freeze, who I don't know, he could maybe freeze the whole of Gotham or something like that, maybe slightly. I would like to see a bit less on the like kind of. And it'll probably be easier coming away from the Riddler, a bit less on the kind of detective side of Batman, where he's cutting about with the commissioner and stuff like that, basically for the whole film, and more about him on his own with like the commissioner, who I touched on, I thought was really good. A bit more of just Batman and Jim Gordon kind of thing. I felt like it was like Jim Gordon was Robin in this film, and it was like Batman and Jim Gordon.
Aye.
They were together all the time. I really liked it.
Maybe you would appreciate a villain like Professor Pig or something to come into it, Sean.
Is that I don't know what that is.
So a mad professor that wears a pig's mask, basically.
What is it? Well, if it's a mask, it's fine as long as it's not an actual fucking pig.
Actually, I think, see, you've touched on a really good point about it being like a sort of detective noir, being like Seven. It definitely had a Seven feel to it for me, the way it looked. But I actually think they're going to keep that vibe going all the way through the sequels. So
Well,
I think.
I mean, would that work?
I
Obviously,
like that.
with the Riddler, that's the perfect film for that to work because of what the Riddler is and stuff like that. Even do that with the Joker as well. That kind of same kind of like. Again, I'm not clued up on the amount of villains that are out there that could be brought in, but Mr. Freeze is an example. Mr. Freeze is the one like leave behind mysterious clues for you to like, track down the next kind of thing. Like, he's a big freezing gun, freezes stuff. So like how?
I don't think it's going to be like that. Like it's too long to explain, but there's this thing called the Court of Owls, which is like an underground like organisation that Bruce Wayne figures out. It was in the comics maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago. And that I think that this film seems like it's pulling for that, going for the story, like that feeling about it. So that's what I think's going to happen next. I think it's going to stay like, because remember, Batman was at first called, the Batman comics were originally called Detective Comics. They were all detective stories that he just happened to wear a batsuit. It wasn't all about going about fucking smashing folk and that. It was going about figuring out crimes and like solving clues. So I hope they keep that sort of vibe all the way through.
What if we, Daniel? What if we fantasy book it a little bit, and let's say we introduce the Joker in the next movie, we introduce the Court of Owls, and then we have Batman kill the Joker and turn into the Batman who laughs.
Aye, see, that's where. I mean, ultimately that would be the coolest thing ever, but it's not going to happen. But do you know what would be cool, so right? Because Robert Pattinson would make an awesome Batman who laughs.
Yeah.
Like, so for the other two, sorry, in a decent Batman story in the comics, there's a really popular character called the Batman who laughs, right? And what happens is that Batman kills the Joker, but the Joker releases like a toxin, and it basically turns Batman into like the Joker. He goes mental, like the Joker. So he'd go like the Joker's brain by his fucking Batman. And
so it's like Batman's intelligence with Joker's evilness.
It's cool, like, and he becomes like the best villain. But one day, surely when we're in the 80s, that'll be in a film.
We'll be at the cinema, and there'll be some guy still even older than us standing outside it dressed in a Batman suit with a really high,
Oh, I forgot about that.
a really shitty voice for a guy who's playing Batman outside.
I actually felt really sorry for him.
Aye, So for those listening, sorry, a guy, we went to the cinema to see this, and there was a guy dressed as Batman outside. That looked like it cost fucking like $1,000. That was an expensive Batman costume, and we all assumed he'd been like employed by the cinema, but he was just standing about. He just turned up to stand outside and greet people coming to see Batman.
Oh no, he wasn't employed with the cinema.
Was he?
That's
You
what he
asked
said.
him, Brian. You couldn't respond to you.
I asked him, and he's not.
Oh, I thought he said aye.
No, he said no. He was just like a nice standing there.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
Oh, bless him. Well, listen, let's keep this back on track with reviews and give you Hunter's novel that he's typed to me for this one.
Hey, 2 seconds, right? I've just got an image in my head. So that guy, so if he didn't work for Cineworld, now, he's not got changed. He's either like went to Cineworld in his normal clothes, went into the toilet and then just came out dressed as Batman up and nods to the people that work there. Or he has walked there from his house dressed as Batman. Or
I think he's either walked there or drove down dressed as Batman.
imagine just fucking driving through Stirling and then you see some cunt going past in a Ford Fiesta dressed.
And what, guys, he must have been a good, 10, 15 years older than us?
He was there.
I wouldn't say, I think it's hard to tell what age he was.
You couldn't really tell because of what he was wearing.
Hey, Batman.
Oh well.
Could have been 18 probably new.
I thought he was somebody who...
Long before he came out, that was an expensive, like, high-end fucking Batman suit. He needed help putting that on.
Oh, poor guy, poor guy. Anyway, Hunter, the Batman. I left the first viewing with a little underwhelmed, and I couldn't shake off the obvious comparisons to make between the Dark Knight trilogy and this. On reflection, and after a second viewing, I was wrong to do so. This film is brilliant in its own right and has thankfully erased any memory of Affleck's Batman. We've never even mentioned Affleck.
That was
No worth mentioning.
The darkness of its cinematography is excellent, as this is a much darker, seedier Gotham to what we are used to. The score is excellent, and the use of something in the way by Nirvana was well done as well. Pattinson played the role of Batman really well. We get to see the human side of him towards the film's finale, and also get a lot of insight into his dark, warped mind at the beginning of the film, as he is still wrestling with the vengeance vigilante before becoming the symbol of hope the city needs. I mean, Hunter fucking writes well, by the way. Maybe we should get him to write in rather than being on the podcast most of the time.
You just need to give him 12 can before he writes.
Hopefully he has done enough to have shaken off the Edward Cullen / that guy from Twilight jibs, as let's face it, 14 years to turn into a bat, he was a pretty shite vampire.
Oh, Hunter.
I don't know what to read the rest of this now. We didn't need to see the suaveness and sophistication of Bale's Wayne, as in the small snippets we got of him as Bruce. They were really done really well, and he had a great chemistry with Andy Serkis as Alfred. Wasn't overly fussed with Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I like it more when the chemistry between Batman and Catwoman is more will they, won't they, like the superhero versions of Cat and Deck from Chums. Fucking hell, what a reference that is.
I'm Chums off of SMTV Live.
Chums!
He's referencing a segment for SMTV Live. The spin-off show with Friends. Fucking hell.
Honestly,
That's obscure.
see, when I read that, I thought, I'm reading this wrong. It's Chums. Paul Dano as a Riddler is a masterstroke. He was excellent throughout, and was good to see more of the criminal genius behind the character rather than just a funny guy in a leotard. Also, Colin Farrell as Penguin is so well done. In my mind, he is more evolved version of Oswald we first meet from the Gotham TV series, but he has performed so well with Farrell, who is unrecognisable in the role, and I'm hoping that he'll make a return in the next film. Really looking forward to the next instalment and seeing what Barry Keoghan brings to the role of Joker. Also looking forward to finding out more about this version of Gotham and what the future may hold for the Batman.
Nice.
I know, you've done fucking well there. Right, boys. Instagram. What did Instagram have to say about the Batman?
So this one had totally double the amount that even in the Spider-Verse had. There was like a hundred people gave their scores for this, so I stopped scrolling through at one point, if I'm honest. But mostly sort of 4 plus, 4.5s, loads of 5s. I did see a couple of like a 2 in there and a 1 in there, but I think a lot of folk went into this with a preconception to say it was pitched to try and be different. But 90% of them were all 5s and 4s.
Happy days. Listen, I've just tried to grasp some things of trivia on there. There are absolutely endless amounts of trivia
Just as I know it,
regarding this movie. So
Paul Dano wears the same glasses as Jim Carrey did in Batman Forever in this movie.
Was it?
there you go. I do know the one that they talk about that Rob Pattinson's audition. He wore George Clooney's suit, Batman suit, during the audition.
One with the nipples.
Yes.
That's the one with the nipples.
And also when he did the audition for it, he was in the middle of a rehearsal for shooting Tenet, and had to lie to Christopher Nolan, who then worked out that he was going for the Batman audition because he obviously knew when the auditions were going to happen for it. So yeah, a little nod there to that one as well. Yeah, I won't go through it because I'll spend more time actually trying to read it to make it make sense because it's all big paragraphs. Anyway, this movie at the moment on IMDb has a score of 8.4 out of 10 with 241,000 people, making it 102nd on the top rated movies ever on IMDb. Now, Daniel, will come to you first again. Kick it off with the Morons review.
We're giving it a straight 4.
Straight 4. Sean, it's usually come to you for a contrasting score from Daniel, but let's hear it.
It's just the same, a 4 from you as well.
Happy days. Hunter's come in here with a 4.25, which I'll echo.
So,
Mr. Craig Burns.
And I'm going to give it a 3.75.
A 3.75.
Overall, that's a 4.05.
A 4.05, and where do we think that sits us on the leaderboard, which still needs to be updated a little bit?
20th, something like that.
Well, you'll just have to wait because I've obviously clicked out of it like a right fucking moron. Fill this time in your own space, guys.
It must be quite high anyway, because I think we've not got many that are above that. I had to look earlier to try and see what other actress did this. Started doing that to just put a random score out there to try and distinguish.
So what far? We gave Fargo a better score than that, did we not?
Aye, we did. I think that was 4.25, I think.
So this will push the movie into number 19th on our list, slightly behind Brad Pitt's Moneyball and Jaws, but above The Terminator and The Fighter.
I think that's good.
Ethan.
I'm quite shocked to see Moneyball so high as that, to be fair.
Sean
Well,
Boosty.
we gave it. Mine Sean boosted it.
He did. That makes sense. So guys, that does obviously bring us towards the end of the 3 movies. We've spent an hour and a half here tonight, guys, recording, so this has actually been a little longer what we do with one person less. It's been really, really interesting. I think that to go back and watch a movie again, that Defo Batman is one that I'd like to go back and rewatch. OldBoy, I don't know if I can rewatch it quite yet. Maybe have to leave a little bit of time between that. And Into the Spiderverse is definitely worth a rewatch. So for me, 3 really, really good, strong movies that if you haven't already seen this, if you are listening, please give them a watch, and we'd love to know your thoughts on them as well. Drop in Daniel a message on Instagram and give him your thoughts. I'm sure he'll share it with us. But we're finished tonight with a 2.35 out of 5 for OldBoy, 3.35 for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and finishing with a 4.05 for The Batman.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you very much for your time tonight. Thank you for those that are listening. And I forgot to even mention the wheel. The wheel's been spun.
Done it.
The wheel's been spun, and we have got Sean's selection. So Sean's went for Fast and the Furious 1 all the way through to 9, and any other movie made by The Rock. So
Yeah,
we're The Rock and Vin Diesel. We've got the Pacifier, the Tooth Fairy,
Walking Tall.
Walking Tall. Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the jungle.
And the Scorpion King. Is that not the first one that he appears in?
Yes, that's correct.
So Sean's movies will be popped up on the Instagram. Have a look, get involved in terms of the voting. We've not even mentioned the movies for next week, guys. I feel so out of sync not having.
We've got Beauty and the Beast, and then something else.
Aye, see the Beauty and the Beast. What one?
Original.
The animated.
The cartoon.
Right.
Come on, do you want to watch live action Beauty and the Beast? That's a stupid idea. Whoever came up with live action all these Disney movies, it's a stupid idea. Keep them as cartoons. The other one we're going to watch is The French Dispatch. So these were done from the followers' choice. So let's give them a wee shout out actually. So one of them was picked by Ash Bash, which is Burnsy's pal for work, I believe.
Yep, right.
She picked Beauty and the Beast. Another one was Sean's. The guy Sean follows on Twitter, J-Mick. What's his name? J-Mick? That's how I would pronounce it.
John.
What's his actual name?
Oh, his Twitter name is John McKenzie, but his Twitter name nothing to do with films. It's a name, boy.
Aye, so those are the guys. And just as to preempt it, he picked The French Dispatch because he wanted for us to shite all over it. He fucking hates it.
Nice.
But it's very well thought of, so it'll be interesting.
Well, I do look forward to watching a Disney classic and for us to discuss the underlying stories and morals of a Disney movie, which I think will be an interesting take on it. I feel like we may upset a few people, and I'm just going to put this out there right now, guys. Beauty and the Beast is my all-time favourite Disney movie, so I'm looking forward to.
Your all-time favourite Disney movie is?
What was that? Sorry.
My all-time favourite Disney movie is Hercules, and who is about to be played by The Rock.
Oh, what happened to Pirates of the Caribbean, Sean?
That's the best of a Disney movie, but my favourite is Hercules.
Oh dear God. Well, guys, Beauty and the Beast and The French Dispatch to watch for Monday. And then we'll have Sean's picks for the week after. We will be back to regular recordings and regular uploads on the podcast in the very near future. Some of us can't get as much holidays as others. And hopefully Hunter will join us, and I'm sure Sean will have a day off at some point. But that is it for us tonight, and us morons bid you farewell.